Alright folks, welcome back to the channel. Today's adventure, if the rain holds off, heading out onto a hidden gem here in the central Adirondacks, South Pond. We're going to go check it out and see if it is a gem, if the weather holds out. So yeah, this is South Pond. Wind is blowing me backwards here. I got a paddle. South Pond is a hidden little gem just off of Route 30, south of Long Lake. You come out of Long Lake and there's North Point Road that takes you to Buttermilk Falls. If you keep following Route 30 for another couple of miles, there's a little pull-off. Just a little sign that says South Pond, and a little pull-off where you can walk down to the pond and get some pictures. And this is a pond. It's got some mountains over in here. I don't know if that would be classified as a mountain or not, but the disturbance in the atmosphere, that's why I'm getting a lot of wind right now, and hopefully I can talk over the wind. It got really humid this morning. It's now about 12:31 o'clock, and something is coming in. That's why we're getting some wind here. But South Pond doesn't have any really significant history except for a neat little story in the 1980s, late 1980s. It was a David and Goliath story. Wait till you hear this one. So the David and Goliath story turns out to be in the 1980s. There was a developer that wanted to buy up property along the shores of South Pond here to build condos and townhouses. And a retired school teacher from Connecticut whose grandfather had a cabin on this lake, and I think they still do have a cabin on this lake. In my Forked Lake video, I talked about the wind storm in the November of 1950 that destroyed a lot of the region. Well, this guy, this retired school teacher, his name is George Kittle. No relation, I don't think, to any of the George Kittle that plays tight end for the San Francisco 49ers. But his grandfather owned a cabin on South Pond here, and he remembered the story that his grandfather told him that in 1950 it took 3 men 3 days to get to that cabin after that storm. So it was probably a horrific storm. And of course, back then they didn't have the loaders and all the chippers that we have nowadays. But it was a pretty big storm from what I understand. Anyways, this George Kittle decided, hey, wait a minute. I don't want this to happen on South Pond. South Pond is a great little pond, secluded pond the way it is. So, David and Goliath story, George Kittle took on this developer and won. It didn't really go into detail of what he did, but he went through the proper channels. He went through the state, he went through the DEC, he went through the Adirondack Park Agency, he went through the town of Long Lake. He just kept putting everything in order the way it's supposed to be, and did it the way it was supposed to be, and the developer ended up pulling out and not doing it. And so that 1980s was a time when there's a lot of developers that were looking at developing areas in the Adirondacks, and it still goes on to this day. There's a developer right now from Miami that's looking up in Jay. He wants to build villas and a 200-room hotel and apartments and townhouses, and up there, I think it's right on the Oswego River. And so that right now is being challenged, and this developer out of Miami, I don't know if he's ever been in the Adirondacks, but you know, people that live here are very protective of the area. And that's a good thing, because this is their home and they want to leave it green. It's supposed to be forever green. So that's an ongoing battle, and I guess it's an ongoing battle everywhere where they are fighting these developers. But George Kittle, took care of his grandfather's camp, is on here, and I think it's still on here. But he took on the developer and beat him. He did it the right way. He went through all the channels and won. So hopefully the wind isn't overtaking me here, because it's blowing in whatever it is. I'm waiting to see the really dark clouds start to move the mountains, and I've got to skedaddle off the water here. But yeah, this wind out here is pretty good today. Pretty good. I got my nose into it. I'm going to keep my nose into it. But South Pond, if you're a paddler, pick a better day than today, but if you're a paddler, the access to it is right off of Route 30. There is a steep path down to the water, but it's manageable. It's manageable. So I'm going to paddle around a little bit more, keep an eye to the sky, and see what I can see. Alright folks, you watched all the way through. Thanks for that. If you liked the video, make sure to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button down below. Continue to follow the adventure. And remember, folks, tomorrow is no guarantee for any one of us. So disconnect from that Wi-Fi, connect to this out here. You won't be disappointed.